I wish to stop my fear of being seen and start showing up. I just turned 36, and yes, I'm a Cancer, and I'm so excited. I just turned 36, and yes, I am a Cancer. I am prone to staying in my shell. Even though I put out a lot of work on the internet, I am still quite camera shy. And I'm learning to show up for myself and for my future self to make sure that I'm showing up in a way that makes me feel good and doesn't feel so scared because I feel so dysregulated whenever I have to think about being on camera and just being myself. And I use comedy as a vice to show up and to express myself. But lately, I've just been called to show up as Chrissa without feeling the need to write a funny song, write a comedy sketch. I just want to be me and that be enough. I've been touring my show, Delulu, and I just performed in San Francisco, and it was the biggest show I've ever headlined. And something that I'm learning from that experience is I don't have any fancy props, no stage, no crazy visuals. I show up on stage as me with my ukulele and my keyboard, and that's it. That's all I have. And that's enough. People come to see that because people want to see me. They want to hear what I have to say. They want to hear my story. And that's something that I do on stage that I feel so comfortable with that I want to start bringing on camera on the internet. And I think my whole life, I feel like I've had to provide value for people. Like one time, I had this experience being Filipino myself and just growing up with a lot of Filipinos. I used to be forced to sing karaoke in front of my family all the time. And I personally did not have a karaoke system, but whenever we went to someone's house with a karaoke system, my parents would force me against my will to sing in front of people. And I was like, no, I don't want to sing. This is so embarrassing. And so I'd stop. And then the moment, hours later, that I decide that I want to sing for myself in my own time, my parents never cared and nobody else cared. So I would actually go sing, I don't know, Mariah Carey or A Whole New World from Aladdin by myself when nobody else was watching. And I had a really hard time with that growing up because it meant that it didn't matter when I wanted to do something for myself. It only mattered when other people wanted me to do it. And I think growing up now, being a content creator for nearly 20 years, I think of how I show up on the internet and having that constant validation and feeling this need to serve people in a way that's entertaining. And I just feel called to show up as myself because as I'm going on tour and I'm focusing all of my energy on making this live show as good as it can be, sometimes I don't have the energy to make a comedy sketch or to write a funny song. And I'm just busy refining my live act and I'm marketing it and I'm trying to make content to promote it. And it gets really exhausting. I'm just one person. So I'm trying to find ways to show up online in a way that's honoring my needs, but it still doesn't prevent me from not showing up. Because today I just had to make a bunch of videos and I thought, well, I have this cute little cake that I got for my birthday from my friend Kim. So let's just record an episode of Pretty Pity Party and see what happens. Because I've literally had this show idea forever and it's a song in my show. And I thought, maybe I can just talk to you guys and maybe it'll make me feel better about talking on camera. So here I am. And what's really great about doing live shows and doing comedy and singing on stage and connecting with people is you have to fuck up in front of a paying audience. It's embarrassing. It is so scary as a perfectionist and as someone who did musical theater and dance recitals, having to rehearse every single moment and being completely off book and being on. Like for so long, I did not know how to like cover up a mistake on stage. Like I remember back in like, I don't know, I did I think I was 19 years old and I did a production of the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. I was Marcy Park, obviously, because I'm Asian and I'm really good at everything. But I remember in Marcy's song, I Speak Six Languages, I had to twirl a baton and I tossed the baton and it fell on the floor and I had no idea what to do. I couldn't be a human about it. Like I was 19 years old and I was just like singing and dancing and like throwing this baton in the air and I didn't catch it and it fell and I just ignored it like it didn't exist. I think now I'm like, "Oh my god, what girl, just pick it up." But like 19-year-old me was so fearful that I like messed up in front of all these people who paid to be here. And now, being in my 30s, pursuing comedy and performing on stage, it's really broken through my nervous system in a way that, like, no other meditation could because it's like exposure therapy. Like, the more that I did my show and the more I performed, I learned to just lean into the charm of messing up in front of people, and now I kind of love it when I fuck up because I end up being the funniest when I do mess up and I make little snide comments about myself where I'm like talking to the audience. It's really interesting how kind of going into this profession has made me become more okay with myself and how I present myself on stage. It's a very unique experience being on stage live with people, sharing a room with people where we're all having the same experience. But I'm learning how to translate that on the internet because, yes, I still write music. I might have taken a bit of a break because I'm dedicating so much of my energy and my creative capacity towards my live show. But I'm also just learning how to regulate myself as I'm being creative so I can show up in ways like this. Like, I've been wanting to do this show forever. Pretty Pity Party, it's in my show, Delulu. It's a really cute song, sad song, but a cute song. And I thought I've always wanted like a podcast of some kind or maybe a video series. So maybe that's what it is. And so when I think about growing up and feeling this need to be perfect all the time, I think of my parents as immigrants who had to be like model citizens in America and how they weren't allowed to be curious. They weren't allowed to try new things and look silly doing it. It's as though like they had to uphold a certain version of themselves that was composed, put together. They were smart, they knew what they were doing, and that they deserved to be in this country. And I think that was just genetically and energetically passed on to me. And I've really been dissecting that in my adult life, especially in my 30s as I'm developing this show, because I talk a lot about my Filipino culture and just how I've become more political. Aside from having, conservative family members or, just kind of going against the norm of what Filipinos usually do and breaking generational cycles. So it's been really interesting to explore like, how am I breaking through this ancestral trauma? How am I showing up in a way that I am using my voice and I'm not afraid to express myself? And I'm actually setting myself free by allowing myself to be human in front of people and allowing myself to try new things. I have severe anxiety over rehearsal, and that is something that's like really developed in this last year that I've never experienced before. Like, literally, before my first like tour dates in the East Coast back in April, I crashed out so fucking hard because I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm taking my show to multiple cities and I'm still writing it as I go and it's not perfect. And what if people don't like it? And how about the logistics? I'm not at my home base. I don't have my dog. It was just so dysregulating. And I just had the hardest time trying to stay excited and positive when it felt like an oh fuck, I'm about to be seen by strangers that I've never met before. And what are they going to think of me? And whenever I think of that, I think of my parents. And I think something within Filipino culture as well is perception really matters. And that's something that I've taken in as my narrative that I'm trying so hard to break away from because I just want to be myself, regardless of how I'm perceived, because at the end of the day, I don't have control of that. And a lot of the time, like I'll do comedy so I can be perceived a certain way. Maybe I can be perceived as funny, I can be perceived as clever or talented or whatever. But I think about doing my live show and how I just show up as myself. I don't even wear flashy outfits. Like I'm Chrissa Sparkles. I'm very dressed down right now. And my MO is like wearing a lot of glitter, a lot of ostrich feathers, a lot of jewelry. And I'm just learning to show up as myself and that being enough. And I think part of my journey this next year is how to show up online, being myself, and feeling abundance for being myself and not feeling like that I have to be of value to people. So that's something that I've been thinking about a lot. And I'm really proud of myself for recording this video because this is very out of the norm for me as I just got back from doing a tour date in San Francisco and I've been going. And my inner voice was like, oh, I don't want to shoot. I don't want to be on camera. I don't want to be seen. But then I start getting ready. I do my hair, I get dressed, and I do my makeup. And I'm like, fuck yeah, bitch. You love doing this. That's so cool. The camera overheated, so I'm gonna get going. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope I get to keep doing this. Maybe you can hold me accountable. If you wanna see me on tour, follow my tour dates at chrissasparkles.com. Follow my music on all streaming platforms and find me on Instagram. Let's party, let's play, and thank you for joining me for my pretty pity party.